Namaste everybody, welcome to YogaCandi. My name is Candace and today we have a hip strengthening and flexibility flow. So it's all about the hips. Make sure you have a yoga block handy. If you don't have one, get a really thick book or a box or just something of this sort of shape. It's an all levels class, so I will be adding in some modifications and stuff, so I hope you guys find it accessible, and as always let me know in the comments if you have any requests for future classes so I can incorporate your ideas. This was actually an idea from one of the community members, so that's really lovely and I hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start off on our hands and knees, hands underneath our shoulders, knees under hips. Press into all four corners of the hands. We're going to do 3 cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly and look up. Exhale, arch. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, arch. One more of those. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, arch. Coming down for puppy pose, extend your arms out long and bring your forehead down to the ground, lifting the elbows off the floor. Just creating some length through the spine. Hug up through your core, suck it towards your back. You can lift up through your pelvic floor. By imagining it's a lift, you're drawing your pelvic floor up towards your belly button. Breathe deeply in and out of the nostrils. Wave your spine forwards and let's make our way into downward facing dog. Hands shoulder distance, send your tailbone up to the sky, feet hip distance. Push into all four corners of the hands and try to get your armpits to look at each other. Just walk your dog, so move your legs. Don't worry if you need to bend your legs a lot. And if you can't bring your heels to the ground, maybe with time that will happen. Just find some comfort, as much comfort as you can in down dog. When you're a beginner, this is not an easy pose, but with time this will feel like a resting pose. When you find some comfort, look between your legs. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Look forwards, lift your right leg and step it between your hands as best you can. Just stay here in a runner's lunge just for a moment, stretching out through the psoas here on the left side. You can find a rocking motion back and forth. And then plant your heel down onto the ground, but keep your hips facing forwards. So if you look back at your back foot, your foot should be at around a 30 to 40 degree angle to the back of the mat, and your hips are facing forwards. This is a really good hip strengthener. So we're going to come on up, keeping the front leg nice and bent, 90 degree angle. It also lengthens through the psoas. Inhale your hands to the sky, or take your hands to your heart in prayer. We're going to hold this 3 breaths. Keep your back knee engaged so that you're locking the leg. It's nice and long and straight, bending into the front knee. One more deep breath. Now, using the power of your front leg, step forward, keeping this left leg lifted if possible. hold it up towards your chest. If you can't lift your leg higher than your hip, then you know you've got very weak hip flexors and you may only be able to hold it this high. But take your hands to your hips for extra stability, or to your heart center in prayer, and just keep it lifted. Those of you who are a little more of a strong beginner, you can even try straightening and bending the leg. This is great for the quads as well as for the hip flexors. Take one more breath here. Lean forward and keep the body straight. So look down at the ground. Don't worry if you lose balance. This is warrior 3. You can take your hands to the standing leg just to hold you in place. So you're like a nice long arrow now. Just hold it. You can even use your block in front of you for some stability, just keeping that back leg lifted. So don't worry, wherever you are, just be there. And then slowly drop that leg back behind you into a high lunge. Hips are facing forwards, back heel is off the ground. Stretching through the psoas and strengthening the front hip as well. We're going to go back into warrior 1. So just rotate the foot, taking the heel down to the ground. Hips are facing forwards, just straighten up here. Bending into the front knee, look at the back foot, make sure there's a slight angle of the foot. Pressing your heel into the ground if possible, and keeping the leg as straight as you can if possible. Hands at your heart center in prayer. You've got this. One more deep breath. Frame the front foot. Step back into plank. Just hold plank, keeping your bum in line with your head, not too high, not too low. Keeping it in line. Pressing into your hands. Opening up through the shoulder blades. Lift the right leg and lower it. 2 more times. Lift it and lower. 1 more. Lift it and lower. Take your knees to the ground. Exhale, draw your elbows close to the body, taking your body to the floor. Inhale to a mini back bend, a baby cobra. Exhale down. Take another cobra. Inhale, lift using the strength of the spine. Exhale down. Push your way up into a plank. And then back, downward facing dog. If you need a little rest, take a child's pose. Just bring your knees to the ground. Rest your forehead on the floor. Or we're going to take 3 deep breaths in our downward facing dog. Hug your belly back towards your spine. Pressing your hands into the mat. Trying to get your armpits to look at each other. So externally rotate your shoulders. Slight internal rotation of the legs. One more deep breath. If you're in child's pose, meet us in down dog. And inhale, look forward, lift the left leg, draw it towards your chest and step between your hands. Back into our runner's lunge. We're going to do the same sequence on this side now. So you might want to find some movement, rocking back and forth. We're going to come up for our warrior 1. Look at the back foot. Take the heel down to the ground. Turn so the toes are facing outwards, heel inwards. Hips are facing forwards. Now inhale, lift up through the legs, through the body. You can take your hands to the sky or to your heart center in prayer. Just make sure your hips are facing forward. You can slightly bring that right hip forward and the left hip a little back. Bend into the front knee. Try to keep your back leg as straight as you can. Hug your belly back. We've got 3 breaths. Right, using the power of this front leg, step forward with the back foot. Keep it lifted if you possibly can. Draw it up towards your chest. Hold it as high as you can, preferably above your hip level. Remember, you can stay here, or if you're a little bit stronger in the legs, you might want to play around with straightening the leg, holding it, and then bending it. Just one more breath. We're coming in for our warrior 3. So staying on the standing leg, send that front leg behind you. Become an arrow through the body. The hips are both facing forwards, so draw that right hip slightly downwards. You can keep your hands on your thigh, take it to your block if you need some extra stability. But keep this right leg lifted behind you and your body in a nice long line. Just holding this for one more breath. You've got this. And step back behind you, high lunge. Back heel is off the ground. Bend into the front knee, nice and strong. Inhale your hands to the sky or take them to your heart center in prayer. Take another breath. Now take the back heel down to the ground, back into our warrior 1. It's quite a difficult pose, so just take your time getting into it. The toes are slightly pointing outwards, heel inwards. Hips are facing forwards. Back leg is straight, bend into the front knee. Couple more breaths here. And now frame the front foot. Stepping back into our plank pose. Remember, you're a nice long arrow, keeping your bum in line with your head. Hold this nice and strong. Hug your belly back. Now an extra challenge, lift your left leg and then lower it. Lift it and lower. One more. Lift and lower. Draw your knees to the ground. Chaturanga, hug your arms close to your body. Come all the way to your chest. Inhale, back bend. Baby cobra or full cobra. Exhale down. One more. Inhale to cobra using your spine. Lift up. Exhale down. Let's take a wide-legged child's pose. Bring your bum down to your heels. Open up through your knees as wide as or wider than the mat. Extend through your arms. Bring your forehead down to the ground, and it'll take 3 deep breaths here just to rest before we continue. Lift up and just walk your hands over towards the left side of the mat. Grab your right wrist. Rest your head down, taking a side body stretch. Try to draw your right armpit down towards the ground so that you get more of a stretch down the right side of the body. Breathing deep. And then lift up, and let's take our hands over to the right side of the mat. Grab onto the left wrist, head down to the ground. Try to draw your left armpit towards the floor, getting a deeper stretch. And lift up. Okay, we're going to make our way into downward facing dog. So draw your knees towards each other, hands shoulder distance, feet hip distance, lift your bum. Become as comfortable as you possibly can in your down dog. Look between the legs. Walk your dog if you need to, and take 3 deep breaths here. From here, roll your spine forwards into plank pose. Look down between your palms, keep yourself in a nice long line. Take your right knee and hug it towards your chest, just hold that. One more deep breath. And step forwards as best you can. We're coming down for a low lunge, a nice stretch through the left psoas, through the hip. So taking the back knee down to the ground. The closer the back knee is to the front foot, the easier the stretch will be. So just find the placement that works for your body. You can also use a block, bringing your forearm to the front knee. Enjoy the stretch. Take a few deep breaths here. Now send your tailbone back behind you, straightening through the front leg. We're in a half split pose. You may not be able to bend your knee, and that's okay. You can take your hands to your block again, bringing yourself a bit higher if you can't go too close to the leg. Just make sure you're feeling a stretch down the hamstring here on the right side. Hug your belly back. We're going to take one more deep breath here. And coming forward back into our low lunge, come up off the back knee into a runner lunge. We're going to step forward, exhale, fold down, just hold on to each elbow and hang heavy. In a forward fold, you can bend your knees or you can keep them nice and straight. One more deep breath here, hug your belly back. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, look forward. Exhale, fold. Roll your spine all the way to standing. Inhale, look at your hands as they touch above you. And exhale, draw them to your side body. Finding some neck rolls. Just roll your neck from side to side, just for a moment. And back to center. Lift up through the left leg, hug it towards your chest in that same position we practiced earlier. And then open your knee out to the side. We're coming in for our tree pose. Now you want to use the hip and the glute to really push that knee open. You can have your heel pressed right up and towards your groin, or you can have the foot just below the knee. So either above or below the knee, but not on the knee. Just taking a moment here in a one-legged balance pose. This is also really good for strengthening the hips, the glutes, the core. Hug your belly back. You can take your hands in your heart center at prayer and look at something that's not moving. It's okay if you fall out of it, don't worry. We're going to take one more deep breath here. Taking the foot off, try to draw it towards your chest without falling out of the pose. But if you do, just tap your foot and bring it back. Holding. One more deep breath here. And then take a big step behind you into a high lunge. Inhale your hands to the sky. Hips are facing forwards. Back heel is off the ground. And exhale, open your arms out wide, coming in for warrior two. Back heel is 90-degree angle to the back of the mat. Look beyond your right knee and your right fingertips. Hug your belly back. Holding this. One more deep breath. And rotate, frame the front foot. Coming into a runner's lunge here. Step back into plank. Holding your plank nice and strong. Now lift the right leg off the ground if you possibly can and hold it. And down. Now just lower your knees to the ground, Chaturanga, elbows close to the body, bringing your chest to the floor. Inhale, baby cobra or full cobra. Exhale, down. One more, inhale, lift. Baby or full cobra. Exhale, down. Make your way back into plank, push yourself up into a plank. Now we're going to repeat that sequence on the other side, holding your plank, hug your belly back. Draw your left knee towards your chest and hold it. Just hold it there, you've got this. And step as far between your hands as you possibly can. Say you're in a runner's lunge, and then dropping the back knee down to the ground into our low lunge. Stretching out through the psoas on the right side this time. Just remember, back knee as close as it wants to be to the front foot, the easier it'll be. The further back it is, the harder the stretch will be. You can use your prop. Just be where you are. I'm going to take one more deep breath here. And then exhale, send your tailbone back, straightening the front foot. Lift your toes up towards the sky in our half split pose. Both your hip bones are facing forwards. The front leg can be bent if it needs to be, and you can always come up onto your prop. Taking one more deep breath here. Rolling forward back to low lunge. Plant your hands, lift up off the back knee into a runner's lunge. Just 1 second here. And then step forward. Feet are a couple of inches apart and exhale, fold. Holding onto each elbow, just fold forward. Hanging heavy. Legs are bent or straight depending on your flexibility. Relax your neck. Hug your belly back and take a moment here. Close your eyes. Just feel the stretch. Now inhale, half lift. Bring your hands to your shins, look forward. Exhale, fold. Roll your spine all the way to standing. Inhale the hands above head, look up. Take your hands out into a T shape, fingertips facing the sky. Lock your elbows and just find some neck rolls here. This also stretches through the hands, just so good if you're someone who spends some time on your phone. Let's be honest, we probably all do nowadays. Just a couple more neck rolls here. One more. And lower your arms to the ground, just give your hands a little shake. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So lift up through the right leg. Lift it as high as you can. Hold it before we go into our tree pose. Now just grab the shin. You can have the foot above or below the knee, wherever is best for you today. Don't worry if you lose balance. And now, while you're holding the leg, just try to use your hip flexors and your glutes to push that knee nice and open. So you're almost like a figure 4 shape. Hands at your heart center in prayer or above your head, wherever you want them to be. You can be on your hips. Look at something that's not moving. Squeeze your glutes together. Just a few breaths. Don't worry if you fall. One more breath. Draw that knee up towards your chest without bringing it to the ground if you can. And then take a big step behind you into a high lunge. So inhale, lift the hands to the sky and make sure the back heel's lifted off the floor. Hips are facing forwards. Bend into the front knee. One more breath here and then we're going to warrior 2. And exhale, open up. Open your arms nice and wide, bend into the front knee, back heel, 90-degree angle to the back of the mat. Your hips are open now, so they're facing out the long edge of the mat. One more deep breath. Now rotate your hands, framing the front foot, coming into a runner's lunge. Plant your hands nice and strong, shoulder distance. Step back into plank. Hold your plank. And then lift up through the left leg. Hold it if you can. And then down. Exhale, draw your knees to the ground. And exhaling down, Chaturanga, elbows close to the body as you can, bringing your body down to the floor. Inhale for baby cobra or a full cobra. Exhale down. One more. Inhale up for your cobra. Exhale down. Send your tailbone back. Make your way onto your bum. We've got one more strengthening pose to go and then we're just going to end with a little hip opener. So come onto your bum. We're going to do boat pose. Take your feet together. Start to lean backwards, hold behind your knees. But not too tight, so it's just for a bit of support. Already just resting like this with your back leaning backwards. Hugging your belly back, you'll feel a nice strengthening of the core, but it's also strengthening these hip flexors as well. You can just stay here, just feeling that out. You don't have to go any further, just sit here, leaning back. You can even play around with taking your hands away. Maybe extend them, maybe roll your wrists. Make it your own and just feel through your body. If you want to go a step further with your boat, then hold behind your legs. Take your feet off the ground. Your shins are 90-degree angle to the floor. Point your toes. Hug your core back nice and tight. So this is the next step. You can just build up to this. No need to do this now. Or you can let go of your knees. Let go of your legs. And just stay here in your boat. Legs lifted, hands stretched. Wherever you are, we're going to take 2 more breaths. Now release your feet down to the ground. Hug your knees, hug them towards your chest. Allow your feet to come together. I'm going to face you and your knees to fall open and wide. This is our butterfly pose, so heels are touching. Knees are nice and wide. Just move the fat bits of your bum out to the side if they're in the way. And then hug your belly back. You can sit up nice and tall. Now maybe your knees don't fall as low as mine do, and maybe they lift it up here somewhere. That's okay, just sit up tall, maybe hold on to your feet and try to keep your spine as straight as you can. You can take it to a wall. You can place some cushions under your legs. So you should be feeling a little stretch down through the psoas muscle, down through the thighs and into your hip flexors. If you're not feeling very much, then you have quite open hips and you just want to perhaps find some movement, rolling forwards, maybe just rolling from side to side, feeling through the side body as well as through the hips. We can find some resting by bringing your block in front of you. Maybe you have the flexibility to keep your back as straight as possible, coming down to your forearms and maybe resting your head onto your block, or even all the way down onto the floor. Just make sure you're pushing your knees down to the ground. So wherever you are, just take a moment. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. Take a couple more deep breaths just to get a little deeper into your hips. And wherever you are, just slowly come up, push your knees together, give them a little hug towards your body. And then very last, let's take a nice comfortable seat. So just cross your legs in any way that feels comfortable for you. Roll your shoulders back and down and try not to skip this bit if you can, guys. Take the tops of your hands to your knees. Bring your breath back to its natural rhythm. We're just going to take a moment to tune into the body. So close your eyes, sit up tall and very gently hug your belly back. Take a moment to be totally mindful and present in this moment. We'll go through a little body scan before we end our class. Relax your shoulders down, starting with the crown of the head. Picture the crown of your head and relax. Relax down through the forehead. Relax your eyebrows. Relax the space between your eyebrows. Relax your eyelids, your nose, and down your cheeks. Allow your cheeks to become heavy. Relax your mouth, and then your jaw. Allow your jaw to hang heavy, no tension. Relax the tongue. Relax down the neck, through the shoulders, they become heavy. Relax all the way down through the arms to the elbows. The elbows are heavier than they were before. Scan all the way down your forearms to your wrists and the tops of the hands touching your knees. Feel the weight as they rest upon your skin. Rest every fingertip. And then look down the palms all the way back up to the shoulders. The shoulders become heavier. Become conscious of the breathing through the rib cage. Become aware of the rise and fall as you inhale and exhale. Become aware of the air that fills the body. And then as it squeezes out, scan through the belly. Take notice of that empty space in the middle of you. Down into the hips, allow them to open a little more, to rest. Feeling your sit bones on the ground, the weight of your body. Down the tops of the thighs, through to the knees rest, become heavy. Down through the shin bones, to the ankles. Take notice of the ankles as they touch the ground and your skin. And down through the feet to the toes. Become aware of the tips of the toes and the tips of the fingers. Notice that very slight tingling sensation of life and of blood running through your body. Rest your face. Just taking a moment of total silence together. Find some neck rolls, keeping the head nice, slow movements, eyes closed. Roll from shoulder to shoulder. Maybe extend your arms out to the side, fingertips on the ground for extra resistance and extra stretch. Stop on the right side and just let your head hang heavy. And then roll your head to the left. Let the head hang heavy here on the left. Start to deepen the inhales and exhales here. Roll back to the right and take a couple more breaths, just resting the head to the right. Rolling to the left, hang heavy, couple of breaths. Nice and deep. Take your head back to the center. Roll your shoulders. You can open your eyes. Namaste, everybody. I really hope you enjoyed today's class. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I just want to thank you all for all of you guys for joining me and also for subscribing. All of these actions really do make such a difference to the work that I provide and just to the building of the channel. So don't forget to share and like, and let me know in the comments any requests you may have. And guys, if you're not already following me, find me on Facebook and Instagram. You can also sign up for my newsletter and get my free alignment ebook, which will be really handy for you, I'm sure. So I hope you guys continue enjoying the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Namaste.